quick question. When's the last time you heard someone say that they actually loved coming to work? If you had to think about that too long, this conversation is for YOU. My guest today has spent 25 years proving that joy at work isn't soft, it's strategy, and it's science. She's a best-selling author, educator, speaker, and what she calls a productive joy creator. Her mantra says it all. You don't want it. If you don't make work fun, people quit. Dr. Christie McMullen, welcome to Leadership Live.
Thank you, Donnie. It is such a pleasure to be here. I am so excited for this opportunity.
I have been so geeked out ever since we were introduced to the NAPMW, and I'm so thankful because I think your work is so important, not just because of what's happening with the workforce right now, but I think it's like stuff that's been happening for a long time. I want to know, first off, what is productive joy? What does that mean?
Well, ChatGPT and I came up with Productive Joy, if we're honest. So, Productive Joy is actually a podcast. However, it is a theory, a condition, a choice. So, what happened is make work fun so people don't quit has been a tagline of mine for a long time. But I didn't want a podcast about work. I wanted a podcast about life. And so I put make work fun so people don't quit into chat, and it came up with lots of these options, and Productive Joy was one of them. So I got so excited. And I said, oh my gosh, that's it. Because to me, productive joy is that choice that we make to be in the flow state where we love what we're doing and we're getting results because of it. I've had almost 300 episodes now, and I've asked every single guest for their definition of productive joy. And what's cool is every single person has had a different definition. And I believe that's because joy is also personal. So did that answer your question, Donnie?
I love it. I love it. I love even when we look back at the roots of what the word company means, it comes from the Latin compania, where people would break bread and trade with people they liked being around. And for some reason, I feel like that I don't know if that just drained out of the workplace or what, but
I think in the name of efficiency, we lost some of the human side of things. And with AI doing what it's doing right now and the world changing the way it's changing, we unfortunately aren't leaning into the human side. But if we don't, that's going to be detrimental. The humans are human, and the humans need connection, and they need to feel a sense of belonging, and they need to know what value they bring, and they need to know that they're valued. So all of that is super important, but those are the things that are getting left behind in the name of efficiency. That's scary.
it is scary. And it's amazing what happens when you find some of the places that they're not just open to like incremental growth or frontwards or backwards. They're able to take exponential leaps, and usually it's because they're freeing. I mean, like, human effort is not something that people aren't giving their all at work. Would you agree with that in most cases?
Yes, and I think it's actually by default, right? So, and what I mean by that is I don't believe that there's a leader on the planet who thinks, you know what, I only want some of my employees to do well, and I only want half of their productivity. That's not the way we go into things, but we don't always set people up for success because we don't ask them to lean into their talents. So I actually have a very specific definition of fun. Is it okay if I share my definition of fun?
Please do. Yeah, because it's not ping pong tables and beanbags, right?
No, and or happy hour, or getting the front parking spot. But fun is absolutely imperative. Fun means three things, and this is whether you're an extrovert, an introvert, you like adventure, you don't. Fun means that people feel valued and appreciated. Fun means that people have a voice and they're allowed to use it. And fun means that people are able to leverage their talents for the greater good. So the fun meaning, okay, valued and appreciated. Are you saying thank you? Do you notice when people go above and beyond? Do you know your people well enough to know that they have a dog that's sick, or that their children are getting ready to graduate from high school?
Mm,
You have to make people feel valued first.
mm.
Then you also have to ask for their input, and listen. So often we ask for input from people, but we don't listen to what it is that they say. And then we do something opposite of what they suggested and it goes poorly. I'm not saying you have to take every suggestion, but is there space for your people to actually give input into how things are done? And then the last one is so important. And it kind of leads back to your question, Donnie. You have to leverage people's talents for the
Mm.
greater good. Meaning, do you know your people well enough to know who should be your front man and who should be doing spreadsheets? Do you know what people get excited to do? And are they getting to do more of that? Because if you don't know your people, then you don't know what they're good at. You don't know what they're good at. You're not getting their best.
All right.
So that's my definition of fun.
Talk to us about, like, we can take any of these parts, but I am so curious about, I really feel like that we have misappropriated talent.
Mm.
And we might have the spreadsheet person out talking to people or vice versa. How do you, I know you're a fan of the Enneagram. How do you, if you were leading a group of 30, 40, 50, 300 people, how would you, what would step one be of finding out what that is so we can appropriate and put people in the right places?
I'm so glad you asked. So I actually did a TEDx on this, and it's out on YouTube if you want to go watch it. But I ask people, are you a teddy bear, a paperclip, a magnifying glass, or a slinky?
Tell us
So
more.
yes, okay. So I do believe in the Enneagram and HDMI. No, it's not HDMI. It's HBDI or the Berkman. Or there are so many wonderful personality tests out there. But here's the problem with most of them: they're deep. And they take a lot of time, and people forget, am I red or am I green? Am I ENTJ or what am I? It's hard to forget if you're a magnifying glass, teddy bear, paperclip, or slinky. So what I've done is I've taken all those personality tests and I've simplified them. This is one you can do without a test, and I'll do it real quickly for your audience and they're going to know right away. So if you are a paperclip, you are unbelievably organized. You like things to make sense and be linear. You're a to-do list kind of person. Everything has its place and you think through things in a logical fashion. These are your people who always have a checklist and they give that checklist to everybody else, right? Those are our paper clips. Our magnifying glasses are the get it done people. They're the ones that zoom in on the details. They ask a ton of questions so that they can get the best possible results. And they do not play, right? They mark things off of the to-do list of the paperclip. They're like, okay, we need to do this. Let's go. They take charge. Off they go. Then we have our teddy bears. Our teddy bears love the humans, right? They're the ones that are taking care of the people and asking questions like, when was the last time you took a break? Or do you need some water? Or are you feeling okay? They're making sure that the human aspect of people are taken care of. And I wouldn't say that they're soft, right? Because sometimes they're grizzly bears or mama bears. They're taking care of people. And then last but not least, you have our slinkies. And slinkies are fun, right? Like I'm a slinky with teddy bear tendencies, which means I'm full of ideas, right? And I have 17 different ways that I could accomplish something and I get really excited about it, but I desperately need a paperclip in my life to actually accomplish the thing that I'd like to accomplish because we're not all good at everything. So once you've figured out what you are, and it's not, okay, it's important to understand you could be all four, right? And people often say, but I am all four. Yes, and when you are operating in your unique genius, which one do you lean to? Because we often ask people to be a paperclip. I can be a paperclip. I can be super organized and I can have a list and I can do all the things, but that is not my favorite thing to do. So it's a whole lot like wearing a mask, right? Eventually I start to suffocate. So you have to get people to figure out when you are at your best. Which one of those four are you? And then how can we make sure that the bulk of your job gets you to operate in that list? So I have a friend who, she's a CEO of a company, and she said, if it keeps falling off of your to-do list, it probably belongs on somebody else's list.
Ooh.
And that's where I went, oh, okay. Because the things that fall off my to-do list are the things that I know I'm not great at. These are not my best stuff, but it's the stuff that, has to get done. So who else could do it, right? So I said a lot, Donnie. Was that what you wanted?
You did. Well, I have a new idea. We're going to pitch. We're going to pitch Pixar on this, and it's going to be the Office version of Toy Story. We're gonna have a paper clip. We're gonna have a teddy bear. Let's do it. Like I think we can win.
So
but It's so interesting, and I wonder why, as adults, I feel like sometimes it's almost like there's like this process of permission where we have to give people the ability to find their that you called it the unique genius and to play by that. And do you find that when you go into places that sometimes, oh no, this company's threatened because what if this person's been acting like a paperclip, but really they're a teddy bear, or vice versa? Is there a threat level that happens there? And then if so, or if not, like what happens next? What's the reality of people finding this?
Yes, and so I do believe that there can be a threat in this space when the leader is insecure, and that's true with anything, right? If you're leading out of a place of insecurity, you tend to feel threatened when somebody else is better at something than you are, and that's a terrible place to lead from because I will be 100% clear. Everybody is better at something than you are.
Yep.
So we're not supposed to be good at everything. But sometimes leaders think, oh, well, I'm in charge, therefore I have to do it all. And I would counter that with no, you shouldn't. You just need to surround yourself with people who are good at those other things. So it's about diversity of thought. And your question about, do people feel threatened? Yes. And the and comes in when you recognize the threat is actually not using people's talents,
Yes.
but
Yes.
instead thinking you have to be good at all of it. Once you switch that in your mind, you actually get really excited to not have to be the paperclip anymore or to not have to be the magnifying glass. So, what I do, I actually work with a lot of different groups and I use this activity, right? So, we talk about which one you are, you go to different corners of the room, and then you have a task, and your whole group is made up of slinkies or paper clips or teddy bears or magnifying glasses. And what happens inevitably is your magnifying glasses are done in a third of the time that anybody else takes because they are task oriented and off they go. Your paper clips have everything that was asked of them and zero creativity. Your teddy bears spent the whole time talking to each other and very little time putting something on paper because they were just excited about grandkids and what you were going to go do after work. And then your slinkies had 17 ideas. And if you gave them 2 songs to get this done, at the last minute of the second song, they realized, oh shoot, we're supposed to write something down. And it's probably the most creative of all 4, but it's not done because they needed somebody to say, hey, it's time for us too. So the point to that activity is to help people understand we're so much better when we have all 4 types of people on the team.
Hmm.
If I have a team of magnifying glasses, yes, I'm going to get a whole lot done, but I'm not going to care about the people or remember to care that, nobody's taking a break in 6 hours. We miss those pieces. We need all 4 in order to be as successful as we can be and to have fun at
Which
work.
For sure. And I want to get into the different varieties of fun in a minute because it sounds like if we have these different personas, personalities, we have different versions of fun. Which of these would you say tend to be either underutilized, misappropriated, or undervalued? Because I'm
Mm.
sure, it's like the type A, like there's something that's been rewarded for so long that everyone wants to be that.
That's such a good observation because sometimes people go, ooh, I'm a magnifying glass, right? And they kind of hide from it. No, every one of these has a place and a need. But statistically speaking, 85% of all leaders fall in the slinky and magnifying glass territory. Because remember, the slinkies are the idea people. They're loud. They're forthcoming with their thoughts. Magnifying glasses get things done. So most leaders fall into those categories. But unfortunately, those 2 personalities exhaust the paper clips and teddy bears
Mhm.
because they're a little more, like I need order and there are people involved. And so your question about is one underutilized, people tend to not want to say that they're a teddy bear. They kind of hide from that. Oh, I guess, especially men. Men are like, I don't want to be a teddy bear. That's why I talk about the grizzly bears, right? But I think as far as undervalued, it depends on what you are, right? So if I'm a magnifying glass, then I really like people who like to get things done, and I tend to maybe undervalue the need for a person who's taking care of people. And yet, those are the ones I need the most. So
Mm,
it requires a self-aware leader to recognize, okay, I don't bring this to the table at all. So where is that person on my team? Like let's come in. That's a very confident leader. But
mm,
back to those insecure leaders, if you're an insecure leader, you probably aren't leaning in to the talents of your team because that feels weak. So
mm.
I danced around your question, but I think the answer is we either lean into people who think differently than us or lean away from it. And my advice would be to learn to lean in.
Yeah. And I would to couple with that, a lot of you out there, you're trying to be the magnifying glass and you're going to burn out because you're a teddy bear or a paperclip or a slink. You're trying to be something you're not, and it's sapping your energy. There's
It's
a there's Go ahead. Sorry.
it's outright exhausting, right? Like so all of us in 2020 experienced mask wearing a little more intensely than maybe normal. But I would say this is true of any kind of mask. If you're snorkeling, if you are at Mardi Gras, if you have anything over your face, the longer you wear it, the harder it gets to breathe. And it is not the mask's fault. It is not the way we are wired. We are wired to be able to breathe fresh air. And when we stop the fresh air from coming in, it gets hard to breathe. So the point to that is I'm not a paperclip by nature. And if every day I get up and I go to work and I am being a paperclip, I am
Mm,
exhausted at the end of the day.
mm.
But if I am at work every day being the slinky I was designed to be, I might still be tired, but it's an energized tired, not an exhausted.
That's good. What tips would you give? Because not all of us get to stay in our zone of genius. We all have the parts that are, it calls us to do what we can do great, but it's not really our zone of genius. What 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 advice would you give us for not allowing those things? If let's just say we can't delegate it, but there's these certain small parts where you're forced to act like a paperclip or you're forced to act like a slinky. How can we do you put it on a timer? Like how what does Dr. Christie tell people to do with that?
Oh, it's such a good question. And I do have a wand, but it doesn't have any actual magic. Um, so I would say I would wave a wand over you, and then your life would be full of the things that you're meant to do. But it doesn't work that way. So, a couple things. One is knowing how your brain is wired is a really powerful way to be able to accomplish the things that don't come as naturally. So we actually, in a day, have a red zone, yellow zone, and green zone. Our green zone is about 4 to 6 hours a day, and that is when we are at our best. This actually comes from a book by Carrie Newhoff called At Your Best. And during that 4 to 6 hour window, you can crank stuff out. And if something
Mm,
should take you 15 minutes, it will take you 15 minutes. So you want to protect your green zone like a tiger because that's when you get your best work done. It's not necessarily consecutive. So for some people, it's first thing in the morning, or maybe it's from 10 to 2, but it's 4 to 6 hours a day. Then you have your yellow zone, and your yellow zone is like 8 to 12 hours a day. And that is when you should be doing the things that doesn't require your very best brain. So your question was about if I'm a, slinky and I'm having to do paperclip things, I recommend you do them in your green zone and not your yellow zone,
mm,
because your yellow zone is when you should be checking emails and doing meetings and the things that don't require your very best, because it will take you 3 times as long to do something that you would have done in your green zone, right? So if it would take you 15 minutes in your green zone, it's going to take you 45 minutes in your yellow zone. So you have to be thoughtful about how you use your zones. Again, not consecutive. But then the last part is what we tend to do often is we keep the thing we hate the most for the end of the day, or when, the last thing. And that's usually your red zone. Your red zone
mm,
is like 30 minutes twice a day when you should take a nap or a walk and not be at your computer anymore. And it will take you 5 times as long to do that
mm.
thing as it would have in your green zone. So if you have something that you're like, oh, I just don't want to do that, you need to do it in a green zone time so it will take you the least amount of time with the freshest brain. And everybody's
Interesting.
zones are a little different. So study your day first.
Wow. I love it. Was it not the chronometer? I forget what Dan Pink called that in When, but there's chronotypes. That's what he called it, chronotypes.
Yes, chronotype.
But
Yes, yes, yes. I'm an early morning chronotype as per my Aura ring. My Aura ring has taught me that I am an early morning chronotype.
I love it. And a lot of what you just now discussed, if people are finding that they are dealing with procrastination loops, it probably is somewhere found in what you just now dissected for us. You
Mhm.
actually have there's an interesting part I think all of us are, or most of us are familiar with personality types and those type of things, but I'm really I was intrigued by the fact that I saw you don't just have types, but you have there's a biological essence that kind of goes with each of these. Can you explain I don't know if you'd say hormone. I don't know, like
Yeah,
talk
well,
to us
so they're
about
not
that part,
all
the
hormones,
science.
but they are secretions in your brain, right? So there is another great book called The Brain Friendly Workplace. And the book talks about your neurosignatures. Your neurosignatures, if I were to hook up electrodes to your brain, I would see more of some substances than others, depending on your personality. So my slinkies, for example, actually release more dopamine. Remember, they're fun. They slink down the stairs. They're the idea people, but that is releasing more dopamine in that person's brain. Then you have your paper clips. Your paper clips are serotonin releasers, that calm, right? So that serotonin, they like things to make sense. Then our magnifying glasses, this is not gender specific because we all have testosterone and estrogen, but
Mhm.
our magnifying glasses have more testosterone, and our teddy bears have more estrogen. So those are the substances submitted in your brain to make you go, okay, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm good at, right? So to rewind back to a question you asked earlier about how do you create the fun at work and is it different for each personality type? Yes, the answer is yes. If I were to ask one of my paper clips to join me at happy hour afterwards, particularly if that paper clip is an introvert, that is like asking them to gouge their eyes out. Like they don't want to do it. And yet I'm 100% extrovert, slinky. I'm like, oh my gosh, yay, let's go talk to the humans. So it's understanding, one, how do I recharge and what do I need? But your employer needs to recognize that everybody doesn't think it's fun to go on a retreat where we're going to hike through the mountains. That's not everybody's idea of a great bonding experience. So, how do you balance the idea of we do need to bond and we do need to come together? But how do we do that in a way that honors all the different types of thinkers and all the different personalities? And that takes a wand, right? Like you do have to wave your wand, but it
Well,
doesn't.
I would
Especially, hold on, and then I'm gonna stop talking. But I think that the thing we miss is when we're planning those things, a slinky plans it, and so it's a slinky's version of fun. If you had
mm,
everybody at the table, then you would create the perfect opportunity for that retreat to be truly fun.
I wanna go here exactly right there for a moment, whether it's weekly meetings, retreats, quarterly events. I do think that there is with work from home being what it is,
Mhm.
there needs to be an attention and a weight given to what happens in person. And there's something you did that was experience oriented involving a scratch and sniff sticker in a classroom. I just really feel like it almost gives some, I don't want to say a master code, but it gives some instruction for those of us who are planning these events and these times and these moments with people. Talk to us about that.
Okay, so here they are. These particular ones smell like tutti frutti. I don't know. Actually, I if you scratch and sniff it, it smells a lot like a Smartie. Like remember the Smartie candies? That's
I
what that one
do.
smells like. Okay, so genuinely 20 years ago, I was teaching high school and I started out giving my kids a sticker, and it was totally random on a Tuesday. And I gave every kid a sticker when they walked in the room. These were seniors in high school. And I thought nothing of it. Next day happens, and the kids are like, Miss, where's our sticker? And I'm like, y'all, that was just a thing. And they're like, no, 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 we liked it. I'm like, okay. High school kids don't like much of anything. So I'm like, fine. If you are on time to my class, I will give you a sticker. And I kid you not, I had 18-year-old boys run from the cafeteria to my classroom to get their sticker. And I'm like, this is bizarre. I can't imagine that this is really working. And yet weeks went by and it continued to work. And then one day I needed somebody else to pass out the stickers because I was with a kid in the back of the classroom. And I handed the stickers to somebody. She starts passing them out. And this other kid storms up to my desk and says, no. I'm like, no. She said, She doesn't give us stickers. You give us stickers. And that was when I made the correlation that it had nothing to do with the sticker and everything to do with the conversation that I had with each kid as they came into the room. So that was my last year in the classroom. And then I transitioned to teaching teachers. And I wondered what would happen if I gave adults stickers. Well, fast forward 20 years, I have probably passed out 10,000 stickers over the last 20 years. And I can count on one hand the number of times somebody has said no thank you every time in every setting. And I have done this with healthcare workers and lawyers and teachers and you name it, I've done it with them. People get excited, they lean in, they go, oh my gosh, what kind? And it smells like, they get so excited. And it's because I'm giving them something for nothing. So going back to the valued and appreciated part of fun, it's fun to know that somebody sees you enough to say, you bring value to me. And so
Mm.
that's why I give the stickers. And yet what it translates into is, as a leader, and this is obviously Leadership Live, right? As a leader, if people don't know that you see them and you care about them enough to do something, right? It does not have to be a scratch and sniff sticker. That would be ridiculous coming from some of you. Let's just be honest. But that's me, right? That's part of who I am. If you're not giving somebody something for nothing just because they're human, you're
Mm.
going to miss out on an opportunity to make them feel seen. And when people feel seen, they show up, right? So, you think about how many meetings we go to and we know that nobody would know if I was there or not because my camera's off and I am sitting there actually folding laundry, not even doing what I'm supposed to do because this is painful, right?
Mhm.
Well, it's painful because you're not involving the
Mm.
humans. So my stickers are something people can earn after the first one. They're given the first one. But everyone after that, if I'm doing a keynote or if I'm doing a workshop or if we're just having a conversation, you earn by participating. Well, you would be shocked at how many hands go up because people know, oh, she sees me when I say something. We all run meetings and we all expect people to be a part of those meetings. But do we honor it? Do we say, good job, or thank you, or that was a great answer, or let me give you a high five, right? No, we don't.
Mm.
And I'm not, and so I'm sure some people are listening and going, oh, are you seriously saying everybody deserves a trophy and I should give something? No, I'm not. What I'm saying is that when people feel seen, they behave 100% differently than if they know they can disappear.
For sure. I also like, so from your story, it was stickers, but it wasn't just stickers. It was their name. There was like there was it was a high five. There are these other things, and sometimes I wonder if sometimes we let great get in the way of good.
Yeah,
And
oh
we
yeah.
let like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this big and wonderful thing for my people eventually," but the truth is it could actually be pretty simple. A scratch and sniff sticker, I think, kind of like, helps us to kind of say, "I could do something like that," but, like, okay, compliments or letters or the like, we give like, anything that you've seen leaders do that you feel like is maybe their equivalent of the scratch and sniff sticker that you feel like made a difference for them and their teams?
Yeah, it's the I see you. That's all it is. I see you. So Amy Kemp wrote a great book called I See You. And
Mm.
it's all about knowing yourself and knowing the habits that you tend to fall into. And it applies here. So I see you, meaning I'm leading you, but I noticed how hard you worked on that thing. I saw the extra effort that you gave with that client. I recognize the hours that you've been putting in. I see you.
Mm.
And so you really were referring to what I call safe, logical, fun, and memorable. But safe is really that idea that you can trust me. I'm going to make this psychologically safe. You can ask questions, you can make mistakes, you can not know answers. All of that is okay. And the way I'm going to show you that is by honoring the fact that you put your voice in the room. Right.
Mm.
So that's what they get a sticker for. And if you don't want to put your voice in the room, that is still okay. I'm not calling you out for it. But what I'm recognizing is I won't know what you think unless you tell me. So this is my way of saying, hey, I'd really like you to put your voice in the room.
It's so funny. You mentioned participation trophies, and there's like the meme and the trope about that out there, but I can't tell you how many meetings I've watched where participation that's so is so low, and it's in the lack of engagement. And really, I hope that people are going to take away some ways to get people connected to a mission together again, so that we
Yeah.
can, right, we have a co-mission. I want to ask you, we are, you've been very generous. Can you tell us, Dr. Christie McMullen, can you tell us where to find you? Can you tell us where to find your book? And if there's any last thing that you can share with us on your way out that helps us to take care of humans,
Yeah.
I'm just going to hand it over to you and walk us home.
Thank you. Well, so I have a company called Intentionality Group, and what we do is we help get to the problem behind the problem, because we all have problems, but sometimes we're putting band-aids on gaping wounds instead of getting to the root cause and fixing it. So you can find me you can just email me at Christie, Christie, at intentionalitygroup.com. Aim with Us is on the bottom of the screen here. That's another great way. Or just LinkedIn, right? Just type my name into LinkedIn, and I would love to chat, because ultimately we all need this, but we don't all tend to lean into the human side. And so that's what I want to leave you with today is please lean in to your humans. Take care of the people around you first and foremost. And I assure you the revenue will follow 100% of the time. Because if you get 100% out of your employees because they feel seen and because they are doing what's asked of them, the revenue is going to come quickly behind.
You heard it here on Leadership Live. Dr. Christie McMullen, thank you so much for helping us to understand that productivity is just a byproduct of joyful work. Take care of your people. They'll take care of you. You've absolutely crushed it. Thank you so much for being with us. And for those that are out here, I know that we got a little bit better at leading. And if we can lead better, we can live better. And coming up soon, we will have Michael Neese, Building the Future You that you want to live in. And again, just to remind you guys, putting us out there. And Dr. Chris McMullen, thank you so much for being so generous with your time today.
It was so much fun. Thank you so much, Johnny. Take care.
Bye for now.